On the season finale of the Shade Table, we've seen colorism against men, sororities, and teens. On today's finale, we have brought the men back to have a debate with women on how colorism affects the genders. Listen one last time to see what happens when colorism splits people based on gender instead of skin tone.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Okay, so we all know that colorism is the discrimination between skin tones within a community, and usually within the African American community, we split the community up between light skin and dark skin, and then brown skin in the middle. But today, we're going to split it up between the genders. So we're going to have the women, and then we have the men. And so there's two sets of cards on the table. Each of you have two questions. The men will be asking the women questions, and then the women will be asking the men questions. So, are there any questions for me that y'all have before we begin? No. All right, so let's start. The men will go first.
Okay. All right. Question 1. Is a woman less or more beautiful because of how dark or light she is? Is a woman less or more beautiful because of how dark or light she is?
And your 30 seconds, women, starts now.
I would say no.
So
I would say no, but society makes it seem that like being a certain complexion is more beautiful, especially in our community because we're comparing it to a white standard. So compared to the white, if they're basing beauty off the white standard and they feel that the white is beautiful, the lighter skin or anything closer to white tends to be considered more beautiful. Absolutely. And it's exhibited by ads that you see where you don't see. If you see a brown skinned person, they're in the background, not the foreground. Yeah. That's what I think.
I would agree. So, go ahead. Please share.
So, we think that personally, we don't think that there is a difference between beauty as far as being light or dark. However, we do think that society has deemed it necessary to separate. And just like we were saying about the ads or the African American woman that gets the leading roles in movies and things of that nature, or what we see on social media. I do think that darker skinned women are getting more recognition, but overall I think it is a separation.
Okay, so what do you feel plays the biggest role in the African American community for them to perpetuate lighter women over darker skin women?
I think it's slavery. The idea of what's beautiful comes from, then we were considered not attractive, not beautiful. But if you were closer to white or could pass, you were, your standard of beauty was, you were considered more beautiful. And then if our mind is enslaved and goes along with those thoughts, then we continue to pass it on from generation to generation. That we ourselves begin to think, we don't see ourselves as beautiful in whatever color or shade, we want to be closer to what American standard says is beautiful, which for them would be white, blonde, blue-eyed, or whatnot. So then if you have a lighter skinned black person, then they're closer to that standard than the browner skinned black person or a darker black skinned person.
I also think a lot of it is acceptance or being able to get somewhere in society. My great-grandmother used to pass, and she used to pass because she needed a job, or she passed because she needed to pay her bills. So I think a lot of that has to do, and she's was fairly light-skinned, so she had to pass to get a job. She had to pass to feed her kids. So I think a lot of it has to do with that acceptance piece too.
I know there's a book called "Don't Play in the Sun" by Marie Golden, and it's a comment that her mother made to her. So she is a darker brown skinned woman. So her book is about colorism, but her mother, she's younger, like 10 or so, and her mother makes the comment to her that she needs to come out of that sun because she's going to need to marry a lighter skinned man as it is to have her children be beautiful. So, her mother, it was an idea that was planted in her mother's head, so then she passes it on to her daughter. She's an older woman now. I think she's in her 70s, but she's just now trying to break the hold that single comment of "don't play in the sun" and that you're going to need to marry someone lighter, as it is, to be beautiful. You know.
Did she marry someone lighter?
She went through a series of relationships, and you could tell where she was going after lighter skin to meet that standard because she believed that about herself. She believed it from stereotypes that she saw on TV, as well as little things that we say to each other about hair texture, about, you know, who looks beautiful, just natural, without makeup or whatnot, and then you don't realize how they stay with you. Those words stay with you, and they may be part of how you see your children, how you see the person that you pick for a relationship.
You know, can I ask them a question? You know, the media plays a significant role, but do you think that we as humans give the media the power that they exude on us? Which, in essence, the beauty in which we perpetuate from the media, aren't we in control of that?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, I mean, I think they're working together. You know what I mean? They're mirroring what they see in society. Media is not just getting us information. They're, you know what I mean? They're putting out there what they see in society.
Right.
You know, when you see those beauty ads, and even for white women or black women, you see the ones with the long, with flowing, you know, luxurious hair. You don't see a natural hair. You don't see shorter hair. You definitely don't see that it's kinky. You see either the white woman or a light-skinned, mixed, biracial black woman. And she is supposed to portray the black woman. But, you know, everyone, if not most, you know, they don't look that way. Right. So that you don't see them portrayed unless it's a fad at the time. It's popular to have natural hair. It's popular for you to be of a darker hue. So it's a fad right now, so we're going to show you. But other than that, you know, that's not what you see.
So keeping in mind that for women in colorism, lighter skin is perceived as more beautiful than a darker woman. So keep that in mind as this next question is being asked. That question, usually the first one first.
Okay.
Are light-skinned men weaker than darker men?
Do you mean more perception than necessarily?
Yes, perception.
Okay.
So
Weaker in the sense of physically? Weaker in the sense
Just in general.
weaker, like we talked about before, perceived as not being as aggressive, not perceived as being as strong, not perceived as being a threat as opposed to darker skin.
As far as perception is concerned, I think that naturally, the conception of lighter men being more mixed with white skin, it does weaken, because we was breeded, you know, they put the strongest black women, the strongest black men, with the strongest black slaves, you know, and as you get away from that darker skin, it does perpetuate that weakness aspect.
See,
I mean, yeah. I'm just going with perception of it.
Yeah, you do perception.
So I was really expecting that reaction. So I'm glad. And actually that reaction we'll go ahead and get to that a little later, but please share with the table. What is your answer to that payment, please?
So I think we had a mixed answer. I think we, society may see the darker skinned male as more of a threat, more of the thug or the more aggressive person, as opposed to a lighter skinned black male may not be perceived that way just because of the lighter tone. Doesn't make it true, doesn't make it right. I disagree with it. Anybody can be aggressive, anybody can be more threatening. You know, I base that kind of off of bodybuilding, muscle tone, as opposed to how I see someone. You know, so I think we came to the conclusion that yes, society sees it that way, but then there's agreements and disagreements when it comes to is that true? Should it be that way? Why is it that way?
Okay, so this is a little bit geared towards you, Antoine, but all of you can answer. So why do you believe that there's a stereotype in the African American community that perceives lighter skinned men as being weaker than darker men?
I think it's an old taboo because that doesn't ring true for today. Like maybe in the 80s, and if you was light skinned or something like that, as far as light skin versus dark skinned men, you know, you had to have your hair right, you had to dress a certain way, etc. But I think that was just in the 80s, and now it doesn't. I don't see it that way as far as the weakness goes. Whether one man is weaker because of the color of his skin. I mean, I think all men are strong, and they just have some weak points or whatever it may be. But I don't think I'm weaker than these two men to my left. Hopefully, they don't think I'm weaker than them. But I think it's totally taboo. It's not like that at all.
Okay. I was gonna just reference. I don't know if you guys remember when the young man who was arrested. I don't even know why he was arrested, but he had a great mug shot. He was very light skinned.
A lot of females were sending letters. Yeah, blue eyes. They said he could be a model.
Right, and he is a model now.
Yes,
he's a model.
he has a model.
So I don't think that would have happened if he was dark skinned at all.
That's what I was thinking that too, because just the perception, you know, it's not just a matter of physical strength. I mean, when you see in the media, light-skinned males are portrayed as pretty boys, taking longer to get ready than their girlfriends, you know, so it's just perpetuated that that's the concept. I'm not saying that it's true either, you know what I mean? I know some very strong light-skinned individuals. I know some very strong dark-skinned individuals. I think that when it comes to strength, when it comes to idiocracies, and it goes across not just complexion, but ethnicities too. You know what I'm saying? Like there's great African Americans, there's great white. It's just what it is. I mean, I think it's the types is everywhere. You just can't compliment one area and say that this is what everybody is. But it is perpetuated in that way. It is seen that way.
I was gonna say that you said it earlier. It all goes back to the times of slavery. The big strong buck was out in the field. And they came down heavily on the big strong buck to keep them in line because they didn't want them to get out of line and, you know, create a revolt or anything like that. Most of the I watch a lot of Roots. I watch a lot of, you know, read a lot about most of the lighter skinned males and females were in the house, and they had the quote unquote easier job. So that's just been perpetuated. It's been stories that have been told to our greats that have trickled down to us. What we've seen on TV. I saw the original Roots. I saw the new version of Roots. And, you know, I'm a history buff. So because that still has been perpetuated on both sides, females and males, they used to fight slaves. And the biggest, strongest black bucks were the ones that they were fighting. So we got to break that on both sides of the fence when it comes to females and males, and you know, understand that was white society controlling us and dividing us. So we've got to push that to the side and don't let that dominate our relationships with women with men, our kids, whoever it may be.
I mean, and you can see it today, like the athletes. You know, African Americans are typically known as athletic. You know, and back in slavery times, I mean, I've said it once and I'll say it again. They bred. I mean, we were breeded. You know, they took the strongest black woman and the strongest black man to make the strongest slaves. That's what it was. So since that was the element that was that materialized, you know, they have the fear of the darkness because they understand what was created. You know, so if they know that was created to be strong, to be able to do the load, to do all these extra things, then when they see it, it implements that fear that they see on a continuous basis.
I think it continues. I mean, slavery was about division, so I think it was one of their tools to mentally divide us, because you no longer need the whips or the chains if you've planted mentally that you are inferior, and then you set two groups against each other, you know, and instead of trying to overthrow slavery as a group, light skin or dark skin, you're trying to survive for yourself. You know, you have that crab in a barrel mentality.
That's what it creates. Yeah.
Do most men only prefer lighter skinned women?
No.
Absolutely not. I know I don't. I didn't before I finally get married. So
I never really had a preference as far as like physical. If I find you attractive, I find you attractive. You know, it just, if I connect with you, if I vibe with you, we good. And then if I look at you, you have a pretty smile. You know, the complexion never really mattered to me. You know what I mean? So for me personally, it never did. It never did. I do think that when you look in the media, though, a lot of celebrities, a lot of basketball players are getting a specific type nowadays. They like Kim Kardashian, light skin. So I don't know.
I've always been attracted to darker skin women. Always.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead. Share your answer.
You gotta go.
Answer is no. No. We don't see. What's the question again? Basically,
Do you prefer lighter skinned women?
light skin. No, we don't. Well, we don't. I can't speak for we don't. But it's not a preference. It's just like how we was talking earlier. You like who you like, basically. You know, everybody has a preference, whether you're short, tall, skinny, fat, bald, whatever.
Lots, yeah. You know, that's a preference now.
It's a preference. So I don't think it's so much light versus dark.
So, do you believe that men's preferences aren't influenced by colorism at all, or just
Some people are. I think it's, again, I was born in 1970. I'm 49. So back in the 80s, most females wanted the light-skinned Albie Shore-looking guys. I'm not super dark, but I wasn't the light-skinned Albie Shore-looking guy, so we didn't get the time of that. And then during the 90s, when Wesley Snipes and what's the guy now in the 2000s, Morris Chestnut, you know, those type of actors, then women started saying, you know, it switched, and the dark guys kind of came in style. We kind of talked about this last time. But from the guys' standards, I did have some friends back in the day who used to only want to date light-skinned girls. And when I played pro ball, there were some guys who only wanted to date white women. All the way, like, just white women. But that was a rarity. Like, most of my friends just dated who they liked, who they were attracted to. Me, myself, I was always attracted to darker-skinned women. I said it when we were, when the men's group were together. Everybody in my family is light-skinned. So I think that made me go the other direction, because when I saw light-skinned women, I saw my mother. And I was like, ugh, that's Freudian. I don't like that. So I've always been attracted to darker-skinned women. But I think longer, back, you know, a while back, a long time ago, yes, maybe guys were, because of society, looking at lighter-skinned women more. But I don't think that's the case anymore.
So
Yeah.
preference.
Yeah.
I would disagree.
I also think, I mean, to be honest, we are attracted to confidence, sexiness, we are high self-esteem, individual that finds himself, you know, they feel that I look good, and they know it, you know, and the media does perpetuate light skin as being beautiful, so more light-skinned females feel that way. So it comes across that we are more attracted to light-skinned females. Now, me personally, you come across a dark-skinned female who has that same energy, you're like, oh, she melts you because she's against the grain. You know, but most dark-skinned females don't feel that way because it's not perpetuated. Right. But the ones that do, it's like, wow, you are beautiful. You know, and I think that that's why we gotta allow ourselves to create our own beauty. We can't allow the media to tell us what is beautiful, because beauty is what beauty is. I mean, Forrest Gump said it best. I mean, he said, "Stupid is, stupid does." If you feel you beautiful, you're beautiful. If you acting stupid, you acting stupid. That's what it is. You know, like, beauty is what beauty is. And if you believe that you are beautiful and you walk with that sense of I am beautiful, you're going to be a magnet of beauty, and individuals are going to attract themselves to you and say, regardless to what your complexion is, oh my God, my lady. Or if you're walking out, oh my God, my handsome man. It's what you feel. It's what you hold inside yourself, regardless of what color it is. But because it's perpetuated in the media that light skin is beautiful, because it's constantly implemented in every form or facet of media, then the light skinned females are a little more higher esteem and more confident and feel like, yeah, I'm beautiful because they're told that on a regular basis. But if it was told to the dark skinned females, obviously I think they would feel the same way too. But at the end of the day, we can't allow the media to tell us what is beautiful.
Right. I mean, I think that's a disservice to lighter skin as well, because it only focuses on the physical.
Right.
You are more than, I mean, yes, you can be physically beautiful and confident, but you're more than your physical beauty. What about, who you are as a person and the values that you hold, what you want for your husband, your family, your children. So if all we see them is as physically beautiful, we're not getting to know them either. You know what I mean?
True.
We have them just as paper.
True.
And then if we don't see a darker skinned person as physically beautiful, we don't know either group.
Right.
Yeah, to piggyback off what you said, like, I think it's just, when we look at that, I think this comes to a self-esteem issues. Because I know plenty of light-skinned women that look good but have zero self-esteem. Zero.
So I'm only 42, but so I was born in 77. As I was growing up, 80s and 90s, there was the issue of being biracial with longer curly hair. That was esteemed as more beautiful, not just in the media, but just in everyday. I don't think I went along with it as far as seeing myself attractive or not attractive. It was based on what I thought was good that day or not didn't look good. But you still could feel the presence that, you don't look a certain way, or you didn't see yourself as you flipped through the magazine.
Right.
You didn't see kinky hair or the browner skin or whatnot. And even if you feel beautiful, or you feel your brown skin is beautiful, or the way you were made, God made you is beautiful, you still want to see yourself. Like I have 3 boys. My husband is biracial. So he's very, very light. He could pass for white. But my boys take my brown skin. And I tell them constantly that they are beautiful brown. We talk about, you see that beautiful brown, can you hand me the beautiful brown crayon? So they refer to brown as beautiful brown when they see it anywhere. But society, I know as they get older, that they're not cute little boys, things will be seen differently. They're going to have to deal with how society, unfortunately, stereotypes their beautiful brown skin.
Yeah, and we talked before, we talked before how we felt like when we had the men's panel, that women have to deal with colorism more than men have to deal with colorism when it comes to beauty. Because we don't worry about who's more beautiful between us. We just guys, But women deal with, they think she's more beautiful because she's lighter than me and all that. We don't have to deal with that. We deal with colorism from a racial standpoint. Because we're black, white society sees us as a threat. Police officers see us as a threat. So we don't deal with it from the beauty side. We deal with it from, like you said before, an everyday side. So when she first asked us about colorism, we were like, no, we don't even consider each other, whether he's handsome or not handsome, or who looks better. We just guys. And the only time we ever deal with it is when we're out and about in society, or I've got a 24-year-old son. He's a young black male driving a car. Now I got to deal with colorism, which to me is not colorism, it's racism. So that's how we kind of
trumps it.
That's how it comes to us. So that's why it's so different.
I know I understand that with having 3 boys, because that is a thought of mine as they get older and older, that they're not going to see my beautiful brown little boy. They're going to see a They're just going to see a black male in the wrong light. And it's disheartening.
I was talking to my children just recently, and colorism does play a role in this conversation, because you look at how there's a lot of elements that is in white communities. They have recreational centers. They have the means, because they have ownership to buy their children cars so where they can go to their friend's house. They have places to go. In the community, black communities, there's not too many locations that they can go. So they usually congregate at the corner, at the store. So it's perpetuating that aspect of they're just loitering. But they're not. They're just really just kids doing what kids doing. And because there's no outlets for them to go to. They don't have a car they can jump into and go to their friend's house, or a recreational center that gears towards them having elements that they can just stay off the streets. they are lumped in a box regardless to if they are selling drugs or not. It looks like it, and they get attacked, you know. And then the laws for the cops are so ambiguous that that's why they can shoot at will and get away with it, because all they have to say is, I thought they were going to hurt me.
I felt
I felt threatened. And that's it.
Okay, so question I have is for the women, but it's about me. So, do you still feel as men perpetuate colorism, even though these specific men say that they don't play as much part in colorism as women do?
Do we answer now? Do we collaborate?
Oh no, this is.
I do, and the reason why I think so is because you have the titles of like red bone and chocolate and stuff like that, and you still have the comments that'll be made. It's like, oh, she's cute for a dark skinned girl. Yeah, I'm like, what does that mean? Why is she cute for a dark skinned girl? So yeah, I do think, I don't think it's intentional, but I do think as the whitewashing of society has said it for us, I mean, that's all we have to follow. I mean, we can go all the way back to slavery as our basis for why we were always separated, but we are still in it, and it's still happening. And so I don't think it's an intentional thing for it, but I do still think it's been being held on by us.
I think we pass it on from generation, just in the light comments. We may not realize, when we say someone has good hair, I think just healthy hair versus, someone has good hair. Or, that because she was lighter skinned, she's automatically assumed as beautiful. You take two people next to her, she's beautiful, whether the person with the browner skin, you look at their features or you see them and you see their eyes, and that person actually may be more beautiful. It's just the subtle things that we do that we pass it on from generation to generation. So we have to really assess our own thinking, be honest with ourselves about how we see each other's color, our own color, and what we want to pass on with the things that we say. So being intentional with our words. So if your words help continue that stereotype that it's light skin versus dark skin, then you have to look at yourself and be more intentional with your words to get rid of that.
True. Very true.
Right.
It really is that the media plays such a tremendous role in the standard of beauty, but it plays a significant role. When I think about just beauty in itself and where it's created, it should be created inside. But in psychology, there's this concept called the Cooley glass, and that's how we don't look in the mirror and see what we see. We look in the mirror and see how people perceive us, and that's where the flaw is. So if you look on television and you constantly seeing skinny noses and you don't have a skinny nose, then you're gonna hate your fat nose. If you look in the mirror and the complexion is darker and everybody you see on television is lighter, you're not gonna love your complexion. So what it's doing, opposed to creating beauty, is also creating insecurities, and that diminish beauty in itself, because beauty is inward. So it's definitely some whitewashing generated in the media without a question, and it needs to stop. But it can't stop because we don't have control of the media. The media is controlled by white America. So in order for us to perpetuate what beauty is, it has to come from within. So we have to be the entities. I mean, we have so much power. We have the buying power. Every marketing strategy is geared towards African Americans for a reason. Koreans come in here with the hair. They sell it because we create that $1 billion industry. We create it with the lashes. We create it with the lip gloss. I mean, they got lip fillers. They want their lips to look like ours. You know what I mean? Like, everything that is beauty is from African Americans. We set the standards. They got butt shots. You know what I'm saying? They got everything that is considered beautiful is African. They already have it, and everybody else trying to get it, and we don't even understand that.
No, we don't.
We have so much power. We have so much spending power. Instead of spending money on what they're doing or what they're bringing home, create our own economics, create our own, build our own, and then we can have the strength to put brown skins in front of the television and show movies and television series with our complexion. That's what needs to be done. That's how you go behind what is coming straight at us.
And I was gonna say, another way, all that is true, agree with it 100%, and it all starts at home. So I don't have any daughters, I've got boys. I've got a very light-skinned twin son, and I have a darker-skinned twin son. And then my oldest, my 24-year-old, is very light-skinned, and my 8-year-old looks more like me. So I tell them the same way I would tell my daughters, if I had daughters. I've got a lot of nieces. I tell them all the same thing. Love you. Love your skin. Don't ever let anybody tell you you're not beautiful. And it's got to start with them. It's got to start with us telling them at home. And if we tell them at home, they hear it enough, they don't have to worry about hearing it from social media. They can, or social media or regular media, TV commercials, advertisements. They can say, okay, well, this is what they're pushing. Well, my mom and daddy told me I'm beautiful. I'm the most beautiful thing on the planet. And then we can counteract what they're trying to do to bring our self-esteem down. Because even though we're not in the days of slavery anymore, they're still doing the same thing. They're still trying to find ways to divide us and to keep us down. And the fact that we're coming together with Black Lives Matter and everything else that comes about is scaring the mess out of them. So they are going to always try to keep us below them. They're horrified that they say 2030 something, that this is going to be a majority-minority country. The white society will no longer be the majority. So they're horrified of that, and they're going to continue to do things to repress that and keep us down and keep our self-esteem down. So we got to do it at home. We got to I tell my sons, you are beautiful. I don't care what color skin you got. Tell all my nieces happen to be fair skinned except for 2. But I tell them the same thing. Y'all are beautiful, period. Don't let anybody ever tell you you're not. So if we do more of that, I don't care if you're dark skinned, brown skinned, light skinned. If we take care of that at home, we can counteract. It's not going to solve it, but we can counteract what's being done to us and try to build up our children.
It does help. It's just a lot. I mean, floodgates for the media is open.
Yeah.
Man, you can't run from it.
Yeah.
You just got to be strong. I mean, you just got to be strong.
I think it's teaching them also their value. They're just as valuable as anyone. No one is more valuable than them, and they're no more valuable than someone else. Regardless, I mean, and that includes all of our color ranges. You know, like Martin Luther King's mother telling him that you're just as good as anybody else, and that's something that he always remembered. So, just knowing that value, that you are valuable, and it isn't based on your skin color, how you look. It's not, your value is intrinsic. It's something that the Lord gave you way before anybody thought about you, and no one can take that away.
Right. That's right.
We talk a lot about social media and things of that nature, and it just brings me back to the piece about being at home. But I also think about education too as well. I have a 6-year-old, and she doesn't realize that she's African American, and that's a lot. A part of me, I thought she probably knew, but she doesn't. She goes to all black school, so how would she know a difference? She will look at, when I say a black baby doll or black anything, she's like, no, black is ugly. And I don't think she knows about her skin tone, but I think she's thinking about the black crayon. Because it's always considered the ugly color out of the box. Okay? So I think a lot of it still has to do with that. I mean, she's 6, and she doesn't have a whole lot of access to social media and things of that nature, or cartoons are orange and pink, things of that, so she doesn't know, but so when we are in the store and she's looking at black baby dolls, she said, no, I don't want that because she's black. Or she wants the white doll because she's white, and she's still thinking that that's good. Black is bad because that's what they, if you're getting in trouble in school, you're on black because it's bad. Okay? The crayon in the box is black. You don't use black. Why would you use black? Use another color instead of the black crayon. So I think that's where she's getting it from.
All right. So for my ladies, your question is, how does whitewashing in the media and throughout society affect women in the African American community, along with young girls and adolescents?
I think it affects us in every aspect of our lives, and we don't realize it. But I mean, we keep talking about beauty, but I think it's deeper than that. I think it's when we try to apply for positions. Should we wear our natural hair? Do we need to straighten it? The clothes that we wear, how we carry ourselves. I think it's
even how you speak.
Even how we speak. Yeah. So I think it's more than just, and when I go back to just being accepted and being able to survive. Survival.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think, society has made it, where like white privilege, whites are gonna survive, and how do we get that? How do we get to that place? How do we get to being able to survive? So I think it has a lot to do with just being able to survive. So if I have to talk a certain way to get a job, so that's what I'm gonna do. Or if I have to change my hair to get this job, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to do to survive.
I would agree with that some. I mean, I think that's the sad part because we do want to survive, but we want to get past that and thrive. Because you go through seasons where you may be in the season of just surviving, and that's understandable. But we want to get to choices where we're thriving, we're moving to that next level, and that would go beyond just how we look, how we speak, but how we treat each other, how we help each other, how we, if I'm blessed here, I was blessed with this, so I'm going to bless others. How do I give back? So how do we go from that state of just surviving to actually thriving?
And then you asked about adolescent girls and things of that nature, dealing with young adolescent women every day. I think you guys are handling it way better than when I was in high school as far as the color and things like that. I think you guys are more accepting of each other. But I think the underlying issues are still there as far as what you guys see being portrayed. You have celebrities who are investing in bleaching their skin products. I mean, these are, in your generation, prominent women like Spice and Black China and things like that. So I think those things are still there as far as if you want to be this and you still need to look lighter, or wigs and lace fronts are like the golden age right now. So the straightening of the hair is still there too. But I think you guys have, and we talked about it, like you guys have so much power to change it all. I really do believe so. And to make an impact and say, no, we're not going to accept this, and no, we're not going to fall in line with this. We're going to identify us being different and beautiful in that difference.
So like the movements that are here now, like the natural hair movement and darker complexion movement. So yeah, no makeup movement. Yeah, I support all of those, but do you think that's enough? Like, or do you think it just needs to be more to be done within?
I think it needs to be more than a movement. I mean, you're making that choice. If you decide I'm not wearing makeup, it's about you, maybe the health of your skin, or just having confidence in my nude face. But today, yesterday I was confident in my nude face. Today I want to wear makeup. You choose because that's what you wanted, not because someone said the movement is wear no makeup and you go along with it. Say you want to wear makeup. That's what you want to do. You choose makeup, but everybody else is telling you, no, this is no makeup time and this is what you should do. But that's not what it says to yourself. So I think we have to choose beyond a movement. It's about something inside, you know what I mean? That it just you choosing your path, not just going in the path that everybody else has already laid out. And that can be hard to be yourself. I mean, it can be hard to go your own path, but that's what God made us to be. He made us so that I'm not following someone else's path. I'm going to forge my own. And that may mean, you don't have some support, but He knows where He wants you to go and what path He wants you to go in, and you will be all right.
Movements don't last. So it has to be something more.
Right.
And I mean, this is good right now. We have that natural hair care movement, but in 5 or 10 years, that's not going to be around anymore. So what's going to surpass the movement?
If you chose, but for you, if that's what you chose, 20 years down the line, if you're still natural, because you chose that, not because you were going along with what everyone says we should be doing right now.
All right, so that concludes this activity. So I have a question for you all. Based off of everything that was said, the time limit that you had, did you find it difficult to come up with your answers in just 30 seconds and as a unit?
I don't think, if I can speak for the guys, I don't think we had a hard time coming up with what we thought. We pretty much all kind of thought the same way when it came to those quick 30-second responses, and we're kind of in agreement. We have one where we may not have been in full agreement with, but I think
we were still in agreement. I mean, I don't think that light skin is weaker than dark skin, but I think the perception is perpetuated. But we was in agreement. We agreed that that wasn't an honest depiction, but it is depicted.
So I think we come up with looking at the 3-second time.
Okay.
It was easy, or we were able to have our responses because you already know some, what you think about something, so you already have your thoughts. But maybe to be completely honest, might not have been as easy.
Okay. So I'm glad the simulation was pretty easy for you, but for some people it may not be as easy. So this is why colorism is a topic that takes more than just a little bit of 30 seconds at a time for people's attention. It needs more than just more than just a movement. Because movements don't last, like Ms. Dawson said, and we just need to be talked about it more. So this question is for everybody. We're gonna go around the table, starting with you. What do you believe that the African American community can do to end the cycle of colorism for future generations to come?
That's a really, really good question. Now, as far as, I think that self-love is essential, right? And obviously, if you have that self-love perpetuated and exuding out of you, then you will sort of start to break down the barriers of colorism. In order to get to that place, though, we have to find ways to build that within our community. And I think best, if you just take the concept of ownership and not, like if someone gives you something, your value of them giving it to you is not going to be as much as you value something that you earned. When you put your blood, sweat, and tears into something and you get it, you acquire it, you want to take more value to that than someone just giving it to you. And I think that we have to find ways to create that value within our community so that there's elements that we can say, okay, regardless of what the media is saying, we value this. And I think once we start doing that, we can find ways to chip away at colorism.
I'll reiterate, starting at home with the family, moms, dads, dads to their daughters, because that's huge. I don't have daughters, but my relationship with my nieces is almost like a father-like relationship. So dads to their daughters, telling them, hey, you are beautiful no matter what. I don't care what anybody says. Never let anyone make you feel that you're not. Same for the sons. I've got boys. I tell them all the time they're beautiful. They're still young, so I say beautiful as they get older. I'm gonna say you're a handsome person, and all that. But right now, my 4 boys, all they know is that they're beautiful. Period. My oldest son knows that he's a beautiful person inside and out. The little ones don't understand that yet, but it's our job to keep telling them. We have and we stole it I saw it on social media with Tyrese, an affirmation that he was doing with his daughter. It would be something like, I am beautiful, I am this, I am the master of my own fate. It was like 7 different things. And we started doing that with our 8-year-old and our 4-year-olds. So, and the 8-year-old, he memorized it so he can do it on his own now. We're still working with the little one. So just making them affirm who they are and what they are and what they can be and what they're put here to be. That'll help. And as he said, we've also got to find external ways outside the home to have ownership. I agree with that 100%. So that we own our own feelings of ourselves as opposed to letting someone else tell us how we should feel about ourselves. So.
Can you read the question again?
What do you think that the African American community can do to end the cycle of colorism for the future generations to come?
Just based on what they said with family and love, and building off of that, I think what we can do to fight colorism is just be more aware and be more active. And I say that because based on like the conversation that we had today on colorism, like I personally believe like the Willie Lynch doctor is the second strongest doctor on this planet next to God. And with that being said, if we learn to love each other, take control of our own businesses, like we said earlier, and do things on our own to show self-love from within, start with the family and going outwards, then I think we'll end the colorism, light versus dark, this versus that. And I think that'll be a great way to start.
I think so much the dependency that we rely on the white man. I think we have to break that looking for approval, looking for them to tell us what our next move should be, looking for them to say, yes, you can have this business loan. Just like everyone else said, I think we need to create, and we are, I mean, it's Black businesses are a movement, everything else is coming together. But what's going to last after that movement? But we have to create, we have to separate. We have to not rely as much and as heavily on these expectations. And start with the self-love, giving it back to ourselves and building us up and things of that nature, educating, having these conversations and these talks. A lot of Black people are scared of these conversations because they're scared of their own feelings towards them. I grew up in a lighter skinned family. We have sprinkles of dark skinned children in our family too, and to be honest, they're treated differently. They've always been treated differently because they were darker skinned. And you know, saying that is almost an embarrassment, but it's the truth. And sometimes, as Black people, we are scared. People, period, are scared of the truth, and having that conversation and talking about it.
I think I agree with what everyone has said, but especially, what's your name?
Miss Dawson. Bye-bye.
Okay. Being honest with ourselves. That look in the mirror and being honest and aware of how you really feel. So first, being honest with yourself as an individual. What do I really think? What do I really believe? And what do I need to change? And then as a bigger unit, you know, being as a people, being honest with ourselves as to what we really think about colorism and how it started. You know, that honesty, awareness of what we really feel, you know, to the point of the hurt. That, okay, I felt this way, and then I feel the hurt. I understand someone else's hurt. This is making me want to change it. And you starting with that individual and then moving out to the group.
All right. So this conversation was amazing. I'm glad that I did my activity. It was the first time. It's a little bit different than all the other episodes, but I really thank you all for coming. And for those who are watching, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to give any feedback possible. And thank you all. And let's be the beginning to a new wave against colorism.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.